Dear congregation, we scatter reports like leaves in a high wind, and then we wonder why no one can find the tree. Most think a quick share link is harmless, but it breaks lineage, weakens truth, and breeds confusion. Here's what actually happens when we abandon governance: manual chaos, broken RLS, stale workspaces that quietly mislead. We will establish a sacred pattern: authoritative datasets, faithful distribution through org apps, and staged deployments as our liturgy. You will leave with a clear pathway to migrate, to adopt pipelines, and to guard access with labels, roles, and tenant discipline. There is one covenant that makes this endure. Stay with us. The heresy of manual sharing, why lineage fails without stewardship. Dear congregation, let us name the sin plainly. Ad hoc share links, email PDFs, orphaned bookmarks in private folders. No lineage, no accountability, just fragments of truth torn from their source and traded like rumors in a marketplace. What follows is predictable. Conflicting truths. 2 dashboards, same title, different numbers. One copy carries last month's calculation. Another carries a developer's untested change. Leaders ask which one is real. We answer with guesses. Wisdom weakens. Community phrase. Audit blindness arrives next. When a link spreads beyond our sight, there is no canonical place to trace who saw what and when. We cannot answer basic questions with confidence. Who consumed the sensitive page? Who exported the detailed table? We grope in the dark where we should stand in the light. Then RLS drifts. Roles meant to protect the flock are re-implemented in each copy. A filter is missed. A condition is inverted. One region sees another's ledger. Or a manager loses access to their own staff. Exposure and withholding both harm the body. Discoverability dies as well. Users beg for links. New joiners ask in chat. Knowledge becomes a scavenger hunt. We shape a culture of favors instead of a pathway of order. When the path is unclear, shadow guides appear. Use my version, they say. And the Canon fractures. Hold this moral frame. Data without stewardship becomes rumor. Rumor erodes trust and community. We do not gather to trade rumors. We gather to receive truth, to work in unity, to decide with clarity. That requires a doorway, not a pile of keys. Org apps are that canonical doorway. The sanctuary where truth is received, not scattered. One entrance, ordered content. A visible covenant between producers and consumers. When we bless an org app, we declare, this is where the faithful will find the latest tested, endorsed truth. Not in a forwarded file, not in a private bookmark. Here, but hear the warning. Even a doorway fails if the locks are broken. A beautiful entrance means little if the walls do not hold. So let us examine why manual sharing weakens the very locks we rely on. First, lineage. When reports are shared by link outside the app, the chain from report to dataset to certification is hidden from view. Users cannot see endorsements. They cannot see who owns the data. They cannot see refresh health. They consume without context. They decide without confidence. Second, navigation. Manual sharing bypasses the curated order of pages, sections, and overview. The user lands in the middle of a story. They miss the preface. They misunderstand the conclusion. An org app offers liturgy, sections for reports, sections for notebooks, an overview that teaches how to walk, links that bridge only to governed sources. Manual sharing tears out the bookmarks and throws away the map. Third, change management. A link to a draft becomes a lifeline for a team that never should have seen it. A PDF from a test workspace circulates for months. Meanwhile, the production app is updated and blessed. Manual sharing ignores versions. It creates a chorus of unsynchronized hymns. Fourth, stewardship. Org apps show owners. They show endorsements. They show labels. They show when content was refreshed. Manual shares hide all of this. They turn stewards into rumor chasers. They replace pastoral care with firefighting. Fifth, culture. When the default is send me the link, we teach impatience. We teach exception. We teach that governance is optional when a deadline looms. But remember this truth. Haste without order leads to error without mercy. We must teach the community to enter through the door, not climb through the window. So how do we turn? We commit to a simple practice. We publish to a workspace with intention. We build the org app as the sole doorway. We remove alternate paths. We instruct If it is not in the app, it is not ready. If it lacks an endorsement, it is not trusted. If it lacks a label, it is not classified. If it bypasses navigation, it is not part of the story. And yet, even with a doorway, we must keep the walls. RLS and OLS are sacred boundaries. They do not live in emails. They do not survive exports. They live in the dataset and in the app's audiences. Align them, test them, guard them, because once boundaries drift, the sanctuary loses its shape. We have named the heresy of manual sharing. We have seen its fruits: conflicting truths, audit blindness, role drift, and lost pathways. Let us not return to scattered leaves. The doorway stands ready, but to keep it strong we must speak of guardianship. We must speak of RLS. When RLS breaks, guardianship, not guesswork. Dear congregation, let us face the wound. When RLS breaks, it exposes or withholds. Both harm the body. Exposure shames trust. Withholding starves decision. The sanctuary trembles, not because the data is wrong, but because the boundary failed. Why does it fail? Copies of data sets, each with its own roles, mismatched role names between environments, unmanaged audiences that reveal pages to the wrong flock, brittle testing done by authors alone, never by the people who actually live inside the rules. These are not accidents. These are practices, and practices can be changed. Hold the law. RLS and OLS are sacred boundaries. They are not suggestions. They are walls. They are doors with names carved above them. They tell each person, enter here, not there. So we honor them at the source. We model roles at the dataset. We do not patch filters in a report. We do not rely on page-level illusions. We bind row filters and object limits where the truth is born. Practice this discipline. Start with clear personas. Finance analyst, store manager, regional VP, vendor. Build a test matrix. For each persona, define expected rows, restricted columns, allowed pages, and forbidden exports. Then test in the service, not only in desktop. Use View As with sample users tied to Azure AD groups. Prove that a user in one congregation sees only their pasture. Prove that a steward can survey the field without crossing into private fences. Now, this is important because roles are more than DAX filters. They are relationships. The role name must persist from development to test to production. If the mapping breaks in one stage, drift begins. So we standardize role names. We store them in source control with the PBIR and dataset settings. We script assignments where we can. We document the covenant in plain language. When roles read like scripture, people keep them. App audiences stand beside those roles like ushers at the door. Align them deliberately. Leadership, managers, frontline. Each audience receives only the sections that serve their duty. Do not let navigation cross-contaminate. Do not show a tab that a role cannot open. Hidden is not governed. Remove what is not theirs. Show what is. This reduces curiosity that tempts boundary testing. It also teaches the user, your path is clear, your duty is enough. Bind sensitivity labels to content as visible vows. If the dataset is confidential, the report inherits the mark and the app displays it. Teach the label to travel into exports, into Teams, into SharePoint, into email. A label is not decoration. It is a promise that follows the artifact wherever it goes. Without that promise, a harmless screenshot becomes a breach. Define tenant settings as the covenant's outer wall. Who may publish beyond the organization? Who may share externally? Who may build on certified datasets? Do not leave this to whim. Enforce through security groups. Review quarterly. Record exceptions. We are not closing the gates to keep people out. We are closing the gates to open the right doors with confidence. And yet even faithful walls require proof. So we test with time. We test after every schema change. We test after role membership shifts in HR. We test when a new region is born. Automate checks where possible. Validate that each audience lands on an allowed page. Validate that each persona returns only their rows. Put a health tile on the steward's dashboard that turns red when a role assignment is empty, a filter returns 0 rows unexpectedly, or a label is missing. Remember this. Never patch at the edge. Do not fix a broken role by hiding a visual. Do not fix a leaked column by formatting it blank. These are fig leaves. They cover, but they do not heal. Return to the dataset. Repair the role. Republish through the pipeline. Announce the change in the app's notes. The body deserves healing, not concealment. Guardianship is not guesswork, it is design, it is rehearsal, it is watchfulness at dawn and dusk. When we keep these boundaries, the sanctuary holds, and the work can proceed in peace. Stale workspaces. When the lamp goes out, dear congregation, let us walk the nave at night. The lamp has gone out. In forgotten corners, old visuals still glow. A retired data set hums softly. A bookmark points to a page that no longer speaks. No one tends it, and yet people still come and they still believe. This is the drift. Abandoned workspaces. Outdated measures that once served well, but now mislead. Reports named Final 7 that never reached blessing. A refresh failed last quarter and no one heard the bell. We do not intend deceit, but silence becomes its own deception when we stop keeping watch. The risks are plain. Wrong decisions from old numbers. Forecasts shaped by stale dimensions. Shadow governance born from temporary workspaces that somehow survived their purpose. A manager prints a PDF before month-end close. Another forwards it as if it were scripture. Weeks later, a boardroom debates a variance that no longer exists. The lamp went out. The room kept talking. So we learned to read the signs of decay. No endorsements. No owners listed, usage metrics that show a spike last year and a flat line since, a data set that fails refresh 3 times, then 4 while alerts are silent, a workspace with archived, old and new in the same title. These are not curiosities, they are calls to action. Order is restored by apostolic sources. Certified datasets stand as the lineage. Promoted content marks the catechism in progress. We teach this hierarchy. Certified is the altar text. Promoted is the sermon draft. Anything else belongs in development, not in the sanctuary. When people can see the seal, they learn which words to trust. Place workloads with intention. Fabric capacities are the altar. Treat them with reverence. We do not crowd the altar with experiments. We do not starve it with fragmented capacities no one monitors. We size for refresh windows. We plan for concurrency at market open and month end. We observe capacity metrics like weather. When storms are forecast, we scale or we stagger. Health becomes a discipline, not an afterthought. We instrument usage. We define refresh SLAs. We set failure alerts that notify owners and stewards, not a forgotten mailbox. We hold regular stewardship meetings, 10 minutes each week. What failed? What aged out? Which audience no longer needs this section? Close the loop. Speak the truth aloud. Decide and act. And when the time comes, we practice sunset rites. Deprecate clearly. Archive with naming that warns the passerby. Retire with grace. In the app, place banners that guide the flock to the new path. This report is retired. Here is the living source. Keep the redirect in place long enough for habits to change, but not so long that ghosts linger. Now, how do we prevent new decay? We bind stewardship to the artifacts. Each workspace has 2 named owners. Each dataset has a steward who attends the council. Endorsements expire if not renewed. Health checks run weekly. If a dataset fails refresh twice, the banner appears. If a workspace shows 90 days without usage, we schedule its right. Order is not a project, it is a rhythm. And remember capacity as a living covenant. Test load before promotion. Simulate peak hours. Watch query durations and memory pressure. If doors jam at peak, people force windows. They export, they cache, they create private copies, just in case. Performance is governance. When the path is swift and clear, the congregation walks it. Finally, teach the community to report darkness. A simple form. I found a stale report. Reward vigilance. Thank the watcher. Close the loop. We retired it. Here is the app. In doing this, we replace rumor with ritual. We invite the whole body to tend the lamp. We have named the drift and its cure. Keep watch. Certify the source. Place with intention. Measure health. Retire with banners. When we do, the sanctuary stays bright. And the people decide with light, not with shadows. The doctrine of distribution. Org apps as the canonical doorway. Dear congregation, we have named the failures. Now we turn to the doorway itself. Org apps are not decoration. They are the canon, the place where truth is offered with order, with context, with lineage, visible on the surface. Hold the first principle, one workspace, many org apps, one well, many cups. We do not duplicate water for each flock. We draw from a single certified dataset. Then we pour according to duty. Leadership receives what leaders must see. Managers receive the tools to act. Frontline receives the clarity to serve. One source, many ministries. No forks, no shadow wells. Structure is our liturgy. We do not throw items into a scroll of clutter. We shape sections, reports together, notebooks together, dashboards together, each section named in plain truth. Sales performance, supply chain health, financial close. In the overview, we teach the walk. Start here, read this first, then proceed. The overview is the altar cloth. It sets tone, it clarifies purpose, it welcomes without confusion. Now, this is important because navigation is governance. When we combine app navigation with report pages, we decide how the story unfolds. When we separate them, we declare hierarchy. Choose with intention, collapsed for the seasoned, expanded for the new. Avoid the labyrinth. Avoid dead ends. Each click should feel like a step in procession, not a stumble into a side hall. Define audiences explicitly. Do not trust implication. Create congregations by name. Executive council, regional managers, store associates, vendors, then map content to duty. The Executive Council sees trend, risk, and decision notes. Managers see drill paths and operational levers. Associates see today's targets and exceptions. Vendors see only what the covenant permits. If a page does not serve a duty, remove it from that audience. Hidden is not governed. Absent is clear. Brand with reverence, not vanity. The app's image and theme are not flair. They are signals of trust. A consistent banner tells the community you are in the right sanctuary. The color teaches context. Finance blue, operations green, risk amber. Title, description, and version notes speak in plain words. What changed, why it matters, who is affected. This is pastoral care. Links are bridges, but bridges must be blessed. Embed only governed URLs. If we link to SharePoint, it carries labels. If we link to Teams, the team is secured. If we link to an external system, we confirm that the door is approved. Do not smuggle in rogue iframes. Do not embed a private dataset hiding behind a public face. A bridge to nowhere is a fall. A bridge to the wrong city is a breach. Keep vows visible. Sensitivity labels and tags are the vows. They declare classification at a glance. Confidential, internal, public. They travel with exports. They appear in headers. They remind the hurried mind of sacred boundaries. Tags add human meaning. Quarterly close, FY26 plan, pilot. These words reduce confusion. They keep rumors from wearing robes. Reshare rights require intention. We do not hand everyone authorable. We empower stewards. We grant reshare to owners, to designated lay ministers, to those who will teach others how to walk. And we track it, not to punish, to support. When reshare becomes a flood, we pause. We ask why. Perhaps an audience is missing. Perhaps a team needs its own cup from the same well. Capacity awareness is part of the doorway. Doors that jam at peak hours create sin at the edges. People export, people screenshot, people copy. So we test load before we bless. We simulate Monday at 9. We watch concurrency. We observe memory and query duration on the fabric altar. If we foresee a crush, we scale or we stagger. If a report is heavy, we pre-aggregate. If a page is slow, we trim the ritual. Tenant settings are the Canon's outer frame. Who may create org apps, who may bless them into distribution, who may build upon certified datasets. These are not vibes. They are configured, security groups, not individual names, exceptions recorded and reviewed. External sharing defined, not discovered. Allowed audiences documented, audited quarterly. The door remains open, but it opens by key, not by wish. And yet, even a well-kept doorway can lose its meaning if we forget the overview's purpose. Teach the user how to use the app. One paragraph. Why this exists. Who it serves. What to do first. Place a Start Here card. Place a short legend for icons, labels, and endorsements. Provide a link to the Stewardship Council. See something wrong? Tell us. When the people know how to ask, disorder diminishes. Remember, endorsements is the creed. Certified content is the canon. Promoted content is under review. Everything else remains in the sacristy. We display endorsements prominently. We explain what they mean. We do not endorse lightly. We renew endorsements on cadence. We remove them when ownership lapses. The badge is not a trophy. It is a promise that someone keeps. Finally, make the app a living place. Version notes with each promotion. A small change log in human words. We corrected regional aggregation for EMEA. Store managers will see revised week-to-date numbers and offer a feedback link, host monthly office hours, pin a health tile. All datasets are fresh. This quiet signal prevents panic and reduces tickets. Dear congregation, org apps are the canonical doorway. They gather truth, they display vows, they shape the walk, they align roles with audiences, they protect with labels, they breathe with capacity. When we distribute through this doorway, we honor lineage, we teach order, we welcome the many without scattering the one. Apostolic succession in practice, deployment pipelines as release liturgy. Dear congregation, a doorway without a procession becomes a crowd. So let us set the procession. Development, test, production. 3 stages, 1 doctrine. We move in order so the lineage is preserved and the people receive truth without surprise. In development, we shape the words. We draft measures. We adjust models. We try ideas. But none of this is yet teaching. It is preparation. In test, we invite witnesses, stewards, representative users, security reviewers. They walk the path and confirm the boundaries hold. In production, we preach. Only then do we bless the app and invite the whole congregation to receive. Source control is our scripture. We keep PBIR files, dataset definitions, and app configuration in Git. Not as decoration, as proof. Every change carries an author, a reason, and a place in time. We review pull requests. We ask simple, holy questions. What changed? Why? Which roles are touched? Which audiences are affected? Silence is not accepted. The record stands. Data parity matters. Parameters in dev must mirror test and production, with only connection details shifted by environment. Gateways aligned, schedules aligned, RLS identical, OLS identical. If a role differs by name or filter, drift begins. So we codify, we apply scripts, we validate after promotion that dev became test and test became production without mutation. Automated checks stand like faithful angels at the gate. Validation scripts confirm model size thresholds. Workspace rules ensure sensitive labels are present before promotion. Capacity guards test that query durations remain under the mark. If a check fails, the procession pauses. No shame, no rush. We fix at the source and we resume. App versioning is pastoral care in public. Each promotion carries notes in plain language. What changed? Why it matters? Who is affected? We do not bury change in a commit hash. We declare it at the altar. We respect the user's attention by telling them what to expect when they step inside. Rollback is grace. We keep the previous build close. If the new homily confuses or a boundary behaves strangely under peak load, we step back with humility. The covenant remains unbroken because the lineage was preserved. Version N1 is ready. The congregation keeps working. We fix. We return. Monitoring is the weekly council. Refresh health, capacity signals, error telemetry, usage patterns by audience. Are leaders reading the overview? Are managers stuck on a slow page? Did a dataset miss its SLA? We do not guess. We observe. 10 minutes, once each week. Owners and stewards gather, decide, act. The governance loop completes the rite. We certify the canonical dataset after production proves stable. We endorse the app that holds it. We link documentation that states the covenant, what the dataset contains, who owns it, how RLS is enforced when it refreshes, how to request change. Living pages, not lore. Remember, congregation, the pipeline is not bureaucracy. It is love expressed as order. It protects the people we serve from unintended harm. It protects our labor from being twisted by haste. It protects the sanctuary from drift. So when you ship, walk the procession. Dev to test, test to production. Scripture in Git, roles aligned, angels at the gate, notes on the altar. Grace within reach, counsels in rhythm. Only then do we bless the app and invite the congregation to drink from the well, certain that the water is clean. The 30-day rite of migration from chaos to canon. Dear congregation, the path is before us. 30 days, not as a burden, as a rite. From chaos to canon. We will walk it with order, with light, with humility. Day 1 to 5. Inventory. We map the land. We list reports, datasets, notebooks, dashboards. We name every workspace that holds a living metric or a sleeping ghost. We record owners. We identify stewards. We discover audiences by their duty. Leadership, managers, frontline vendors. We sketch lineage. Which datasets feed which reports. Which gateways serve which sources. We note refresh schedules, failure history, and endorsements. No judgment, only truth. Day 6 to 10. Classify. We apply sensitivity labels where they were absent. We correct where they were wrong. Confidential, internal, public. We endorse where content is stable and owned. We hold back endorsement where ownership is unclear. We add tags for meaning. Quarterly close. Pilot. FY plan. We let labels and tags speak before we do. We align tenant settings with this new clarity. Who can share externally? Who can build on certified data sets? We write these choices into groups, not names. Day 11 to 15, refactor. We consolidate to certified datasets. We remove duplicate measures that drifted in private copies. We fix RLS and OLS at the dataset, not the report. We define personas. We test them with sample users in the service. We correct filters, rename roles to be clear and consistent, and store their definitions with the artifact. We resolve refresh errors. We remove data sources that are no longer sanctioned. We simplify where complexity hides ignorance. Day 16 to 20. Build. We create org apps per audience, not one app for all. Many cups from one well. We craft overview pages in plain words. Why this app exists, who it serves, what to do first. We structure sections, reports, notebooks, dashboards. We shape navigation, combined where the story flows, separated where hierarchy matters. We brand with reverence. Theme, image, title, and description align to the ministry of the content. We embed only governed links. We keep labels visible. Day 21 to 25, pipeline. We connect Git. We bring PBIR, dataset definitions, and app configuration under source control. We establish development, test, and production workspaces. We rehearse the procession, promote to test, validate roles, validate performance, validate labels. Promote to production only when the angels, our automated checks, approve. We practice rollback. We ensure version notes are prepared in human words. Day 26 to 28. Capacity and alerts. We size workloads with intention on the fabric altar. We test concurrency at the known rush hours. We set refresh SLAs by audience need. We wire health dashboards and notifications to owners and stewards who will respond. We place a health tile in each app. All datasets are fresh or attention required. We do not shame. We inform. Day 29. Sunset rights. We deprecate stale workspaces. We archive with banners that warn the passerby. We retire what no longer serves. We post redirects in the old places that people still visit. This report is retired. The living source now resides in the org app. We keep the redirect long enough for habits to shift, not longer. Day 30. Covenant ceremony. We publish the governance guide where the congregation gathers, SharePoint or Teams as our digital sanctuary. We announce the Steward Council and its cadence, weekly for health, monthly for change, quarterly for renewal of endorsements and tenant settings. We invite the whole body to participate. See something? Tell us. We close the loop with action and with notes in the app. So when you begin, remember the rhythm. Inventory, classify, refactor, build, pipeline, capacity, sunset, covenant, 8 movements, 30 days. Not perfection, direction. Once the rite is complete, the work continues in gentle cadence. We keep watch, we tend the lamp, we pour from one well into many cups. The charge and the call hold this single truth. Distribution is doctrine. And org apps with pipelines keep the lineage pure so the congregation decides in light, not rumor. Walk now. Migrate your reports into org apps. Establish deployment pipelines with notes and rollback. Seal content with roles, labels, audiences, tenant discipline, and capacity care. Subscribe for the next teaching as we open the Governance Handbook page by page. This is our duty in the digital sanctuary. Let us keep watch together.